Good morning, class. This is your English teacher, Sir Sanjay. I welcome you all to yet another session of online classes wherein we upload videos on YouTube, videos explaining lessons of English honeysuckle text, English supplementary text, and English grammar. A lot of them will also come up. So, without any further ado, let us begin today's lesson. This is ninth lesson of English supplementary text with the lesson being named What Happened to the Reptiles. So you all know what reptiles are, right? These are those creatures which do not basically have legs and all. They do have, but they basically love crawling, isn't it? Animals like snake, wall lizard, so and so can be termed as reptiles. Clear? So now let us start the lesson with a bit of preface before we actually start explaining you. Clear? So what do we have ahead? Pambupatti. Pambupatti, obviously the name of a place, is a beautiful village inhabited by a variety of people. There will be a lot of people, a lot of people living in Pambupatti, a variety of people living in Pambupatti. Prem, the narrator, Prem will be the one who will be sharing this story and its detail with us. He flees his village under unfortunate condition to reach Pambupatti by chance. So he'll be fleeing his village. Flee means to run away and leave his village in problematic situation. And there was no predetermination on Prem's side to reach Pambupatti. He happened to reach Pambupatti by chance, or as luck would have it. Okay. An old resident of the village looks after him. So an old man, old resident, it could be man, woman, we do not know. He'll be looking after Prem and taking great care of him, and also will be telling him an interesting story. Clear? So without any further ado, let us begin explaining the lesson. Okay, it's a wonderful lesson with the title being What Happened to Reptile. I've told you what reptiles are. These are those creepy creatures that basically crawl, creatures like snake and all. Clear? So we'll be reading this lesson now. Who will be narrating this lesson to us? Mr. Prem, isn't it? What did he do? He fled his village under unfortunate circumstances. Okay. So now let's begin reading the story. I'll read them pairwise and explain them to you one after another. Clear? So see, what does it say? Just a second. Yeah. It says, you may not believe this story, but I can tell you it's true. Because I have been to Pambupatti, a village on the edge of the jungle. Okay. I've been to village, it's on the edge of the jungle. It is on a cliff. You know cliff, right? It is on a cliff, and the vast forest stretches below like mossy green carpet. So there is this vast forest. It spreads like a mossy green carpet. You know carpet, right? We lay carpet in our houses at homes. And what do you mean by moss? These are green small plant like outgrowth, isn't it? If something remains like a stone or a wall structure, you must have seen green small plant like things, not plant, basically soft greenish patches outgrowth growing on things or concrete structure that remain inactive are called moss. Clear? There are many kinds of people in the village. Many kind of people live in the village. Dark, fair, tall, short. They speak many languages. Some eat meat, some don't. Some pray in a small temple at the edge of the forest. Others pray in a mosque some miles away. Okay, so in the beginning, what is being said, let's try to understand. So the narrator says his story may not be considered as true by many, but he is betting that it's true because he had been to Pambupatti himself, and he gives the location of the village by claiming that it's on the edge of the jungle. It is on a cliff. Let's say it's a mountain. Cliff will be something like this, very high nearby mountain. It was a beautiful place, to be precise. Okay, and there was vast stretch of forest covering it all around, as if this village was all guarded by green forest, like your floors are covered by green carpet. Just imagine that. And then he sees many different kind of people live: fair people, dark people, tall people, short people, then fat, thin, every kind. And they speak variety of language. Their eating habit, their praying, their faith differs. Some eat meat, some are vegetarian. Clear? Some pray in temples, some pray at mosques. But that doesn't make them fight against or with one another. Okay. So now let's read Piratu. What does he say? Says, my name is Prem, and I live many hundred miles away from Pambupatti. I'd heard about the village, but I'd never been there. Okay, so our narrator is Prem. He is not a native of Pambupatti. He lives far, far away from Pambupatti. He never actually went there, but he had heard a great deal about this place. Okay, let's continue reading. Then last year, something terrible happened. The people of my village went mad. Far, far away in a place they have never been. Far, far away in a place they have never been to, a temple or mosque had been burned down, and then they went mad. Clear? So Prem is telling his story. Clear? He was not a native of Pambupatti. He had never been to Pambupatti also. He did not go as well. Clear? But the previous year something bad happened. The people of his village went crazy over a small issue. Okay. They got to learn that it could be a mosque or a temple in a far, far place, and it was burned down. So as soon as they heard that, people of two different faith, maybe those who followed particular religion, people who have faith, you know, in a certain religion, and they go to this mosque to pray, and then people who have faith in another certain religion and they go to temple. So people of these two faiths will have a tussle definitely, because they were getting crazy after hearing the news that the mosque slash the temple had been burned down. Okay, they started fighting with one another. Some had to run away in the middle of the night. Clear, it was terrible situation. They started fighting with one another. People had to leave their house in the middle of the night. And at 3 in the morning, see the time dawned, 3 in the morning, as I lay in my house, half awake to the sounds of hate and violence, there was a fire. Clear. So as he was sitting in his house, amidst the sound of hate, people were producing sound of hating one another, and there was gross violence. Clear. He was half awake, half asleep, because 3 a.m. is not a time where most people wake. They are asleep, isn't it? So there was violence, then there was a fire. Many houses were burned down in the fire. One of them was mine. So many houses were burned down, and unfortunately Prem's house was also burned. Okay. So what does he say? I managed to grab a few clothes, some coins, my little Ganesh statue. Ganesh. Hindu god, right? We also call him Bappa. And I ran for a day and night, resting whenever my legs would not carry me any further. Clear. So Prem fled to save his life. He somehow carried some clothes, some money, and his Ganesh idol, and he kept running and running. Clear. I jumped onto a train, then on a bus. So he caught a train and then a bus. He did not have any ticket. Never mind. Everyone. So see, this could be the story. Okay, Prem is running with his Ganesh idol. Every villager is also trying to escape. Right. Everyone seemed to be running. Finally, I found myself in Pambupatti and I saw some villagers gathered near our well. I ran to them, and before I could say a thing, I fainted. So he reached Pambupatti, and before he could run to the villagers who were gathered near a well, he just lost his senses. Okay. When I opened my eyes, I saw an old man with white hair, white beard, and shining black eyes bending over me. For the next few days, he looked after me, putting food in my mouth and bringing me sweet cool water from the stream. He rubbed my feet gently and made the pain go away. Neighbors, strangers, everyone came to visit me. So this is how it went. Clear. He fainted, and when he got back to his senses, he saw an old man taking great care of him. This old man had white hair and white beard, but his eyes were shining as if he was full of life. He was bending over Prem and then helping him get better. Okay. So for the next few days, this old man would take great care of Prem by feeding him and then giving him wonderfully cool water to drink, which was bought from stream, small river like source of water. Okay. The old man also used to rub Prem's feet and made the pain go away because he had walked a great deal, isn't it? So the villagers were so kind and gentle that they used to come and visit him every now and then, even without knowing him, actually. Okay. Tell me, grandfather, I said to him one day. So Prem happens to tell him one day, tell me, grandfather, I have never seen people like the villagers here. In my village, people fight with those who pray to another god. But here, this seems very strange place. So Prem is saying, Grandfather, I've never seen a place as wonderful as your place. In my place, people fight over pity issue. They fight over who should be prayed. If a particular person prays to God, they will be, up against him. They'll be fighting him. They'll be ready to tear him in pieces. What kind of place am I at? I've never been to such place. It's very strange. That's what Prem said to the old man. Okay. Now what will be the reply? Let's find out. Prem, replied the old man, I will tell you the story of Pambupatti. You can take this story back to your village. Maybe it will heal some of its wounds and dry some of its sores. Okay. He said, Prem, I'll tell you a wonderful story. You should go back and, try to probably share this story with your villagers. Maybe they will start loving each other and show some respect. Okay. So these words used here do have deeper meaning than only the literal meaning. See, heal. To heal is to cure someone, right? Wound means your injury. Sore, whenever you have problem or pain. Okay. Or part of your body gets tender. Isn't it? So the old grandfather gave him a message that he'll tell him a story and Prem should get back to his village and probably share the story with his villagers. Okay. So what does he say? Oh, grandfather, I said anxiously. So he was a bit tense. Prem, he said, "Oh, grandfather, don't say that. What I have seen in my village makes me burn with shame." He said, "Whatever I have seen in my village, it's very shameful. I never want to go back there." Okay, he said, "I'll never go back. I don't want to go back at all." So, but that's exactly why you must go back. The old man said, "That is why you should go back," he said in a soft voice. I kept quiet. So, after hearing this, Prem did not say a word. He kept quiet. I didn't want to argue with him. He did not want to, actually look bad by arguing with the man. And I wanted to hear his story. He instead wanted to hear the story of the old man. Clear. Now there'll be a following paragraph. Before that, there'll be another round of preface. Let's see what this preface is about. Okay. So see, very very long ago, long time back, there were no animals in Pambupatti, only reptiles. They had a meeting every month. The leader, Makara would be leader of reptile, would chair the meeting. To chair the meeting means to take the important position and discuss something. Missing his power, Makara ordered the tortoise and snakes to leave the forest. Okay, so Makara would be the bad here. It seems. So let's start reading. Okay. It happened a long, long time ago. He began. He started saying, "It happened a long, long time ago. So long ago that there were no schools and no teachers." So it must be really very old time. There were no schools and no teacher. Children lived in caves. Children lived in caves, and their parents helped them to collect fruit and berries from the forest. Okay, so children used to live in caves, and then their parents kind of used to help them to collect fruit and berries. From where? From forest. At that time, there were no tigers or panthers or elephant in Pambupati forest. So in Pambupati forest, there were no animals at all. Okay. There were only reptiles. You see, there were only reptiles, many kind of reptiles. Now, you know what reptiles are. You see, you know what reptiles are, right? Snakes. See, snakes, crocodile, turtles, lizards. And you know the reptile has scales on its body and it lays eggs. Clear, reptiles do not have this legs and all. It has sorry, they some of them have they have scales on their legs and they lay egg as well. Clear. So every month we're talking about reptile and their story in Pambupati. Clear. Every month the reptiles of Pambupati had a big meeting. Clear. There was a meeting. The reptiles would call a meeting. Everyone came. The pretty excited snakes, the slow thoughtful tortoise, the clever quick lizard. So everybody used to be part of this meeting, ranging from the tortoise, the lizard, the snakes. Okay. So see, meeting of the reptile here in the picture you can clearly see, right? And the moody crocodiles also used to come. Grumpy, because they were out of what? Okay. So crocodiles would be moody and grumpy because they were out of what? The president of this meetings was Makara. Who was the president? Makara. Makara is the name of the biggest crocodile of the forest. He used to be the president, one who would be looking after the meeting and will be discussing the minutes, the details. Clear? All the animals thought he was very important. When someone is strong and powerful, it's difficult not to go along with what he says or does, right? So this is what happens generally in society also. If someone is very strong and powerful, people tend to follow him and listen to what he says. So Makara in this case was strong, big and powerful, and all the animals used to respect him, okay, and listen and obey him. All right. Now one day a strange thing happened. Something strange would happen. It was a week before one of the monthly meetings. Okay, so the monthly meeting had not happened. It was just about a week's time before the meeting was supposed to be scheduled. Okay. So what did Makara do? Makara sent a letter to the tortoise. So Makara sent a letter to the tortoise asking them not to come to the meeting. Okay. Ahiste, the big old tortoise is the name. Clear? Ahiste, the big old tortoise with black and yellow pictures on his shell, was very angry. So, as Makara the crocodile sent a letter to the group of crocodiles, not crocodile, the group of tortoise not to come to the meeting, Ahiste, the big old star tortoise who had this black and yellow pictures on his shell, got very angry. He was upset. He was upset. Clearly upset. Okay. So what would he say? Let's find out. He says, "What does this mean?" he shouted. "How dare they?" But not one of the tortoises had the courage to attend the meeting. No tortoise had the courage to attend the meeting, but they were upset, they were angry because they were so few in number and the others were many. They were outnumbered. Even if they wanted to revolt, they could not. Clear? This was the case. So, class, let us stop the explanation here for today. In the next class, I'll follow it up with the explanation. We'll try to complete this chapter, point A, point B. We'll also try and discuss the question answer. Okay, so thank you. Let us wind up the class here for today. Thank you.